that game that I had been playing for a long time that just completely shut their server off within the last year, which is Minions of Mirth. Still have people, even yesterday, commenting on that video about how they and their significant other would get on and play, or their brother and sister would get on and play. And it was like one of those things that whenever they saw this dragon, they said to themselves that at some point I'm going to be able to kill that dragon. And that was like one of their best experience point, and finally killing it. And I think that have every MMO you really enjoy is that you see something or hear about something like Lord Nagavan, and you're like, wow, I want to even see that dragon once in my lifetime.
Right. Because
and once you do,
you build it up in your head.
Yeah. And it still is. I mean, it even now, because of the fact that those two dragons have a level requirement, you still have people wiping on them, and then you have guilds that are contesting you. So you have like 20 minutes to re-get up and going to try to get that mob dead before you have to concede it.
Oh, holy crap! Pretzel pulled a whole bunch for us.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, buddy.
I wouldn't stand in the middle of them, though.
Yeah, I don't have regen on anywhere. Let me get Tara in here.
Or those those hit points to be able to take all those mobs. Those are some deeper mobs.
She did just give us shields, though. We got a damage shield, so we should be good. As long as we get one hit on each one of these mobs. Yeah, Diablo, the original Diablo, not Diablo 2 or Diablo 3, but Diablo went through that same phase where the game company actually shut down their online servers after a little bit. And it was the community at large that opened up their own servers for people to play together. And they were able to do that because they actually
happened with Diablo 2.
Yeah. But they were able to do that because they had a physical copy of the game. But on an MMO, we never really have a physical copy, especially nowadays where they make it where there's less and less and less you actually have to store, and it's all stored on their end. I can't blame them. It's their software. They created it. They put all the hard work into it. But I like to get something for my money. You know, if I'm going to pay 40, 50, 60 bucks, especially if I'm paying monthly, I want to know that that game's going to be there when I want it in 10 years, 20 years. I feel like going back and playing it.
Yeah.
And the truth of it is, when it comes to an MMO, as soon as they shut it down, unless somebody can get an emulated server going, it ain't going to be there. Sword Art Online, though, did a second season, and they kind of... the ideas of that series just kind of touched me when it came to MMOs, because they actually had it where your avatar, your character, your stats could be transferred from one game to another, because all the MMOs were basically using the same base code. That's a pretty cool idea.
Yeah.
But that kind of comes back to VR, in the sense that you could walk into an arcade, play a first-person shooter, and then walk out into the open world of the VR universe and see, you know, 50 buildings in front of you, one for IKEA, one for JCPenney's, the next one for, you know, Walmart, and then there's a whole bunch of more video games a little bit further ahead of that, and it's the same avatar you're taking to every single one of them. Some of them would be compatible, some of them wouldn't, but then you wouldn't feel like all that time you spent in one MMO couldn't be transferred over to another one in some way. Maybe not a big way, maybe not all the stats would, but maybe a little bit of the money, maybe a little bit of, you know, the character design, so people would be able to recognize you because you look the same.
Yeah.
And I don't know if they're ever going to move into that direction, but I can hope, because I think that would be amazing. VR in general has been amazing.
There's actually a company that's working on these gloves for VR, and they're going far beyond what is originally expected for VR. They have the ability with this glove to, when you touch something, it actually has these bladders inside the glove that compress against your hand. So you're actually feeling it. And if the item is cold, it makes the glove cold in those spots specifically.
Nice. You're getting that tactile sensation.
Yeah. It's absolutely insane what they're doing with that.
Yeah, the HTC Vive just recently released a model where it was wireless. They got the latency issues worked out. It's one of the things that when it first came out, they were having a pretty big problem with. The technology just wasn't quite there to transfer so much information without a delay that in the headset would have given you kind of disorientation or a headache because of the lag difference between you moving and it actually recognizing you're moving.
Yeah.
Anytime there's any delay, for those of you who have not used it yet, it's very jarring because your body and your mind. I'm not a doctor, but they're synced, very well together. And when you have one that's just off, even if you're like sick or you're dizzy, it causes you to be even more so. So I'm glad they worked that out. No wires is a huge plus. Wires on my HTC Vive right now are the most annoying part about it. And it sucks because it's an amazing system. There's nothing but joy there other than putting it on and taking it off. Taking it off actually is kind of nice, but putting it on with all the wires draped around you is just dreadful. So if they could fix that, if they could give me the hands back, if I could use hands rather than remotes and give me like cold and hot feeling, holy crap, dude. You're talking about just sending me over the edge. I'd be inside of a video game all day long. I don't know if I go to work anymore, dude. I'd be living homeless.
I mean, it could turn into surrogates.
I hope not. I like getting outside. I mean, you're just going to make it where it's going to be hard to tear myself away from it.
I mean, that's kind of what surrogates was about, is that it got to the point where you were able to live a life that you weren't able to live
I thought
with the body that you had.
I thought the surrogates was more about safety. At least that's what they were going with, like having a physical body out in the world was dangerous. People die.
I mean,
so staying inside, close your shutters, and don't go out there was all about safety. Because once you actually showed in the movie, anyways, that people could die using surrogates all of a sudden became less of a thing. So I don't know if like the entire society just like lost like their balls just dropped out or something, and nobody wanted to go outside because it was too scary. But I don't think that's a true thing. I think people like going outside. I think people like risking their life a little bit. That's why people jump out of airplanes. Sure. They do bungee jumping. They drive on the road.
Well, the one thing that they were doing was there was that point where Bruce Willis is just absolutely upset about the fact that his wife won't actually see him in person anymore. Mm-hmm. And he beat the crap out of this surrogate. And the thing was, the guy was laughing because of the fact he felt nothing. And everyone else was laughing.
Yeah, I think that was kind of a cross between cell phone use. I see people who are talking to each other literally on the phone, standing next to one another.
Yeah.
And they're talking to each other through the phone rather than just like look up and be like, "Hey, how you doing?" Like I can physically see you. We can go hang out physically rather than always online kind of thing.
Yep.
Let's see. Ashton Call died recently. I did not play that one. Did you?
I did not.
Tara says the physical copies of games are going the way of the dodo, unfortunately. I think they're already there. I'm one of the last hangovers on that, actually wanting a physical copy. I do hope if they ever fully get rid of it, that they will at least still give us some of the goodies that they used to get, like the printed screens, posters, maps, just as the swag that used to come with a video game would be nice to be able to put up on your wall if you like the game a lot,
I mean, I got a physical copy of Kingdom Come Deliverance, and they emailed me 5 times before the game release asking me, "You don't want to turn it into a virtual copy of the game?" Yeah, I mean, you're still going to give me the virtual copy of the game. It's not like I'm not going to be able to get on and get my code and put it in Steam and actually start playing it right then and there. I want a physical copy of the game.
Yeah. I realize it saves some money that they don't have to print it and they don't have to ship it. I don't mind them passing that bill on to me, but the part that I really hate is where the physical copy and the digital copy are the exact same price. I mean, if you're making a digital copy, you're saving money. Pass that savings on to me too. You know, I don't want you passing the bill, but pass the savings on as well. So they're a little cheap with that. Let's see. Well, they don't sell CDs anymore, even for the operating system. It's all digital or a USB flash drive. I think USB flash drives are pretty safe for now. It's like the CD or the tape, compact tape of the old days. I think those are going to be around for a while because they're basically just mini hard drives. And hard drives aren't going anywhere. Unless there's a new technology that I'm not aware of. Crystals, is that becoming a thing? Are we going into Star Trek yet? Maybe.
Not that I know of.
I would hope. That would be crazy.
AFK, man.
AJ Dilla, 41 Paladin looking for group. Unfortunately, you're just a tad bit higher than we are on these tunes. It's 8:30. I think that one was starting at 9:30, right? 9:30 Central Standard Time. So we still got a little bit longer before that starts. Nowadays, there are so many different editions, you pretty much need to spend upwards of 120 to get what they call the full experience. You know, we've talked about this before when it comes to video games. Anybody who played Mario on the Nintendo, which is pretty much everybody on the planet, right? I mean, if you were a kid, even close to the 80s, you played Mario. That was done. It came out, and it was fully done. There was no version 1.2 and 2.0. There was no downloading for that one. There was no come back and get the Mario 2 edition anytime soon. That was out for years before they came out with the other one. And it wasn't a add-on. It wasn't like extra levels. It was a completely different game from the original. And that one was done. Nowadays, they come out with an unfinished product. They call it early access. Sometimes it's worth it. A lot of time it is not. And whether they finish it or not is a huge thing. Some games do finish their early access, and some games just linger in that indefinitely and take your money and run. So I like it, but I'm not 100% sold on it. If I didn't get a lot of the games that I get on early access for free, I would probably not play a lot of them. If I had to spend my actual or hard-earned cash and take the gamble on it, I probably wouldn't. I don't know if you feel the same way, Cypher. Are you big into early access? Do you feel safe and secure buying them, or are you kind of hesitant and do you do a lot of research before you bite that bullet? Man, I don't think Cypher's there. So what about you guys watching? If you guys feel early access is worth it. I know you can get into games like with Pantheon. That's what we're talking about. We all want to play Pantheon even before it's done. Do you feel that is healthy for the community? Do you feel it helps that the companies get that influx of money before the game is even done, which helps them sometimes actually finish the game, whereas normally it wouldn't otherwise be able to do so? Cypher's good. He even told you he was going AFK. And Tara, I got a bad memory. I get people's names wrong, let alone my own. AG is permafrost beating down Vox. There's supposed to be an earthquake coming in pretty soon, so I would not be surprised if a lot of the guys go AFK to go get their raid on. Surprised you remove who you are in. I'm not a morning person, to be honest, so if you asked me what my name was this morning, I'm not sure what I would have said. Probably would have just made some kind of weird zombie noise. Then rolled over. But yeah, early access games. Some of them are worth it. Some of them are definitely worth it. There's one that me and Cypher are playing right now, which is the Astroneers. That is kind of like a city builder, base builder, kind of transforming your world, almost a little bit like Minecraft with better graphics and a lot more sci-fi built into it. And they have made so many changes to it. All of them seem to be pretty good. That has drastically changed that game over the last year that we've been playing it. to the point where I actually feel like the game that I got at the beginning is a completely different game than the game that I'm playing now. So it feels like I've gotten to play more than one game, and they've all been amazing. On the other hand, there are a number of really, really bad games that we have played. Bloody Boobs would be the all-time... It's the standard I think I use from now on as just a really, really badly made game that never got any better. The name alone should kind of tell you what kind of game it is. Love and hate early access. Do you have a all-time best and all-time worst game that you want to share on, you know, what your experience was like with early access games? Just want companies to finish the game before I shell out money. Same thing with operating systems. They used to come out with a finished operating system, and now everything is just wait for the new update. Update will fix it. Give us time to do the next update. They never get done, and they always have like strange issues that crop up. So I never feel like I'm actually getting a finished product these days, if they even know what that is. I do like the download content. I was a big fan of that when that started becoming a thing for video games. Borderlands, I think, took it a step too far. They actually came out with like season pass that you get. I know a lot of games have it, not just Borderlands, but they came out with like a season pass that you could pay a one-time fee for, and you would get all the download content that they had scheduled for that year. I liked expansions that were large in their own right, but not large enough, not different enough to be called a game. So if you came out with like Warcraft, you'd come out with the expansions they had. I think Dark Tide was one, and then you had Warcraft 2, which was a same game in the same genre, but better graphics, better mechanics, smarter AI. It was different enough to make it worth calling it a sequel.
I'm back.
I'm bringing in 4 mobs, and I got blinded in the corner, which is why I'm as low as I am. And I do not have regen on, so that could be a thing.
Alright.
Over back, man. We were talking about early access games, the best and the worst.
Ooh. There are a lot of worse.
Give us your opinion on it, man. Are you a fan, first of all, of early access games, and what's the best and worst of those?
I like early access games. Some of them. Some of them I don't like. It just it really depends on the developer, if they're actually active or not. That kind of thing. Looks like you and the rogue are fighting 2 different mobs all the time.
Maybe. Yeah, I was doing an OEC real quick. It's not like we got an enchanter. But overall, are you a fan of them? Would you say there's more good than bad, or more bad than good?
Well, I mean, if you look at the games that I play, let's see. I'm trying to think of them. Wrong World, that is early access. That is such a good game. The developer is on point. He does updates all the time. He takes in information from the community, and he puts that towards his thinking whenever it comes to updating the game. Also, I can't even think of names right now. Invictus. I can't think of the full name of it. There's another one that I got a long time ago, and that game has paid off in spades. It has crafting. It is 90% crafting, and I absolutely enjoy that game. There's also the space game that I have that I've gone to another planet. I've built my own base. I've harvested. I've gone to dungeons, things like that. That's early access. That's the one I can't think of the name right now. So yeah, early access games can be great, but then there are the ones that are just really bad.
But do you think those games that you're talking about, the ones that were amazing, right? Do you think those would have been finished on their own and been just as amazing if they didn't do early access? Or do you think that they were able to finish because they got that initial influx of cash because they needed it. They
Oh,
sorely needed that money.
early access helps them a whole lot. I'm pretty sure about that. I mean, if you don't have an early access for games like that, games that look as good as they do and have as good of a community as they do, those are the ones that last. And then you have the ones that are bad, and they're bad to the point where the developer even stops looking at the game anymore.
Oh yeah, they were just in it for the money. Those are some of the ones we were discussing that really bring the early access down. There needs to be better management over it, better ways to decide whether that's going to be worthwhile or not, because you're right, there's just too many.
80% of the games on Steam need not to be games at all.
Yeah, and those developers
I
need to be
mean,
banned for sure.
True. I think if it's not a game that I can play for, or even the developer or anyone who gets the game, if you can't play it for more than an hour or two and want to come back to that game afterwards, that game never needed to be created.
That's so, it comes down to the player, because there's people out there that hate city builders, and they wouldn't be able to play for more than an hour or two. I get what you're saying, but trying to...
I can't play city builders. I can't play SimCity
I'm
or
gonna die.
or any of those kind of games.
Save me, Tara.
Oh,
I'm so dead. Oh, I'm gonna die. So going down to the jail may not have been the best choice. I did not realize that these guys were as high as they were. Oh, this is gonna be
the
tough.
shin is a placeholder.
So I won't pull those guys again. That was a mistake. Sorry about that, Tara. Thank you for saving me. You're my hero. Obi-Wan. Let's see. I don't deal with early access, is what Tara says. In the early days, you could sign up for betas, and they would let you play for free. I did that for multiple games, and I loved that. That was something that was kind of a treat, because they only let so many people in. They had to send you a disc. You actually helped them out because you didn't just get to go in there and play the game. I always felt a little obligated, since they were giving you the game for free and they were letting you get in there early, that anytime I found a bug, I would let them know what the bug was and what I was doing and what kind of error message I got. I know a lot of people who play early access games, they never send in any information. I mean, you're paid for it. Why would you do any extra legwork for it?
Yeah.
It is just road construction in the U.S. They start fixing a road. By the time they get to the end, they need to start it over. You know Texas very well, my friend.
That is how it is. That's what we're dealing with here. We've had this road supposed to be done last year, and they had this timeline because they wanted to be ready for hurricane season, and we still don't have the straight road that you can take all the way from the south of Florida all the way out of Alabama. And I'm talking about just our section alone should have been done half a year ago.
Yeah, it's I get power outages here all the time just because of
the
construction they're doing.
Srcyer pet.
Yeah, it's gonna let you guys kill
that. He's actually just as hard as the Srcyer.
I mean, he might be, but I figured with 3 or 4 of you guys there, I could go get some more miles. I mean, unless you want to take the downtime. We got regen on. Got chloroplast. And the guy down below is not there anymore, so I'm able to pull like crazy, get you guys some levels. See, you guys already killed it. You guys are able to handle that.
I'm gonna have to AFK again. My aunt just got in from California. So gotta go greet.
So, watch out for the cheeks. Let's see, now they make you pay and call it early access. EQ was okay for me. Horizons and Vanguard. My worst. So he did not like Vanguard. See, Srcyer actually liked Vanguard, but I think he liked the crafting in that when it came to the Bard more than he liked the game itself. I've never seen or heard him go and describe the different experiences he's had with any other tune other than the way the Bard worked. And it was kind of a cool system from the way he describes it, where as a Bard, you could sing songs and you could change the song to suit yourself, to suit your own different type of playstyle. So instead of having just one song that did like a speed boost or one song that did an area effect, you could combine those two together, whereas maybe no other Bard in the game had done that. So you would have a speed and an area effect spell or song at the same time. Never seen anybody else do it. Not sure Pantheon is going to go down that route. It is the same creator from Vanguard and Everquest, so it's definitely possible that he might incorporate a few of those features into it. Let's see, a Shimmering Orb. 20 hit points, 15 AC. Secondary, little shield for a newbie coming in. Not sure I paid for Horizons, though, so that one may not count. Well, you know, it doesn't necessarily have to be a paid-for early access, just an early access game that never lived up to the potential that early access games can have. And not that they tried and that they failed. Most of the time, the things I hold against them is that they never tried. They just take the money and then never produce anything worth a darn, you know? Like, they were literally just trying to scam you. And there's a lot. There is a lot on Steam that do that when it comes to early access. I wanted to play Vanguard so bad, it sounded so great, but was a slideshow to me with all the settings set to the lowest. I'm glad that computers have come a long way and that they've slowed down a little bit. I know that's horrible to say. We all kind of, especially computer enthusiasts, all kind of want to push that envelope. But there was a stage when I was younger, in my 20s, that it seemed like every other week, the computer that you literally, I'm not even joking, the one that you literally just bought in the store that was like the best of the best, became obsolete like 2 weeks later. And Weird Al actually did a skit on this where he went to go buy, I forgot what it was, the 5000, and on the way home he heard the radio and like the 1500 or the 5500 just came out, and then the 6000 and the 6500, and at the very end I think he shoots some guy that looks like Bill Gates. But yeah, it was that kind of ridiculous, like jumping, leapfrogging to where it was so much better than the previous system, and that slowed down a lot. They do still make improvements, but a good computer, if you buy a really, really nice computer with all the bells and whistles, should last you about 7 to 8 years before you have to kind of replace it to play new games. That seems doable. It's still kind of rough because a new computer, especially with the bells and whistles, could cost you like $1,500, $2,000. But for 8 years, I could do that. I think it's worth it for all the amount of gameplay you're going to get out of it. I wanted to play, Discipline was my favorite class in any MMO. Healing Monk, I need that in my life again. A Healing Monk. How exactly did that work? Was it healing in the sense that you were using spells, or healing in the sense that you had abilities such as Mend or Buying Wound? Mend doesn't come back fast enough at higher levels in this game, but at lower levels, it's amazing. It's the only thing you need. Alright, so Terrafina is AFK as well, so no big pools, no dangerous areas. The class sounded awesome, I just couldn't play it. Melee heals, too bad phones cost more than CPUs now and last half the time. I don't use a phone for much. I'm old-fashioned. I'm fine with a rotary phone. I still have a landline. I probably always have a landline if I can help it until they get rid of them completely. I use a phone to watch movies or play video games when I'm bored and I'm, you know, stuck in traffic or something on the drive home. Not much else. So I'm not paying $1,000, $1,500 for a phone. I know some people do and they get a lot of use out of it. Hopefully it's worth it for them. I'll spend that money on a computer. Not a tablet either. Oh my God, don't get me started on Windows 8 and Windows 10 treating my desktop like a tablet. I want functionality. I want to have more, not less, ability to do complicated tasks easily with the desktop. Beastly Lord is what I played. Beastly Lord was cool. When it first came out, it was uber. It wiped the floor with everything else. A monk and a shaman put together, and it was the best of both classes unnerfed. Unlike a Shadow Knight, which is like mediocre to the worst of what a necromancer has to offer. Yeah, the spells are always like 30 levels below what a necro would have at the equivalent level. The shaman one seemed to be equivalent level to a max level shaman, equivalent level damage of a max level monk. Put those two together, and there you go. There's a OP class that's just wiped the game of anything else.
Yes, indeed.
Hey, welcome back, man. Yeah, we were talking about monks being able to heal themselves, and then it came up with Beast Lords, because can you do any better than that? I mean, you got regen, you got healing, you got mend, you got a pet, and you got, I think you had slows as a Beast Lord too, right? Or did you not have slows?
You had slows, you had mana regeneration, you had hit point regeneration. It was just everything.
Mm-hmm. Too much, too much. They should have given them...
It was...
They should have given them like level 10 shaman spells, because even that would have been a lot for a monk to have. And then like the worst pet they could have ever given them.
I know,
just,
they
like,
gave them pretty much a mage pet plus everything else that they gave them.
Yeah. This game is like crack. I played for a long time. I miss QQ. It can be. It can get underneath your skin and make you come back. The good thing about this game is it doesn't need to be played for a long point of time. You don't have to come in here and spend hundreds of hours of a week playing the game. Me and Srcyer and the rest of the guys, you know, we'll play... Well, I can't speak for them. They play a little bit more than I do because they got the time. But I usually only play a couple days a week. Or when I get home from work, I'll play this, or I'll play some of the other games that we review on the channel. And I've been able to get up my characters into the high 50. I got a 59 cleric, and some of my other tunes are very close to getting up in the 50s as well. So you don't have to push yourself. You can play this game casual and still get that nice fix and that camaraderie, the experiences you used to have in the old days. I also play a cleric at the same time. Pet slow too. Ugh, dude, I don't know. That's they did get a pet haste, right? They got a pet haste that was just
got a pet haste, got a pet proc.
It was just.
They also had an instant DD.
They were gonna merge the wizard into it and throw in a little bit of the warrior, and maybe give them a res ability as well, and then they were gonna have it all mate with the GM and see what came out on the other end. But then they realized they didn't really need to. These guys were more powerful than GMs to begin with. It would just kind of lower it down.
Yeah,
it's too much.
I absolutely despise the class whenever it came out.
I had over 10k hit points. Maybe play on live right now the inflation of stats, which again is something I'm hoping that Pantheon has taken into consideration. We won't know for several years if the game does well and it stays, you know, operational that long, and they do some expansions for it. We'll just have to wait and see if that is something they thought of. But a lot of these video games, especially MMOs, they try to outdo themselves with every expansion. They try to make the expansion that came before it obsolete. And I don't know if it's a conscious decision or if it's just something that happens, but they do it. And they do it a lot. And you end up with things like Everquest 2, where you loot a breastplate and it literally has 10,000 strength on it. It has 15,000 stamina. It has, you know, 150,000, you know, resist on it combined. And it's ridiculous, man. I feel like I'm paying for, you know, a loaf of bread with pesos and going in there with a wheelbarrow of money and only being able to buy one loaf. It's too much inflation. You gotta lower those stats down. Make one AC, make one strength, make one agility mean more. Make me appreciate that armor and actually be able to remember what those stats are, because I'm not gonna remember 10,586 stamina versus 10,582. I mean,
I know. That's the worst thing about Everquest 2 is that you get a new piece of equipment, you're looking at it like, what's the difference?
Yeah.
And then it ends up being a huge difference because of one stat or one thing that I had on it.
But it was by 1,000. You know, it wasn't by, oh, it has 1 extra AC, it has 1 extra strength. No, this one has an extra 1,000 stamina versus my last one. And what that does is those zones that came out before that gear was a thing did not take in consideration that you would ever have 10,000 stamina or, you know, 150,000 AC. So those zones become cake. You can go in there, you can pull the entire zone, you can wipe it out. I think you were telling me, Cypher, that if you had the right equipment, you actually regenerated more life at like level 1 than you could lose from a mob attacking you.
Yeah.
So you could pull
at level 1 with the gear that I had for power leveling a character on live, I could pull 60 plus mobs, not level 60, but 60 mobs at a time, and my health would barely ever get to the point where I'd have to think about running.
And that's crazy. That's not how the game was designed to be played, for sure, because we're playing as close to the original as you possibly can get, and it was designed to be difficult and time-consuming. So stats. So I'm hoping they increase it slowly. Very, very, very slowly. I don't mind that when you're level 100, you can come back to a level 1 zone and pretty much wipe the floor with everything, but I do like how in Everquest, especially this version of Everquest, if you're level 60, especially on like a cleric, and you go back to, say, a zone like Najina, and sit down in the jail, you could kill those things, but you're not a melee-type class. It's going to take you a while to do so. You're going to have to heal yourself up. And if you get overwhelmed by like 50 or 60 of those creatures, chances are they're going to kill you. So you're not godly. You're strong. A lot stronger than a group would be in that zone of that equivalent level, but you're not the end-all, be-all. It reminds you that there are bigger fish, numbers play a role, and your life doesn't just regenerate because you want it to.
Yeah.
Let's see. Radson says, I played Shaman till OOW, that's something of war, right?
Mm-hmm. Omens.
Omens of War, there you go. Yeah, then rolled a Zerker. Did you play Zerker? I played Zerker in EAQ 2, not in 1.
I had a friend of mine, he made a Zerker and I made something else. And, I mean, when the Zerker came out that day, and it was just so beast mode. I mean, just the fact that their axes alone, the throwing weapons that they made for snare and damage, and then they also had, what was it called, Rampage or something like that, where they could hit a button and it would hit the mob like 3 times. And man, it was really fun to watch. But then again, it was another OP class that they added to the game that was like a Beast Lord.
Right. I think they think people just like seeing big numbers. They're probably right. I mean, I'm probably in the minority on this. I don't know. Obviously, there's not a lot of people clamoring to play the old style EverQuest. There are a number of us. There's still, 1,200 on average that are active on EverQuest during the prime hours, but you don't see as many wanting WoW. But WoW went through some changes too. World of Warcraft, when they introduced one of their expansions, they lost, what was it, like 25% of their subscriber base or even more? It was a lot. They lost billions of dollars because they went down a path that, the gamers didn't want them to go down, or at least a lot of them. So maybe we're not the minority. Maybe we, maybe they just try to dumb everything down because it's easier on their programming than it is to come up with something complicated that is well balanced and has been tested to work well with one another. I agree. Difficulty is what made me love EQ. Yeah, for sure. I love EQ buffs. It'll last more than 10 seconds. Some of them. You got the cleric buff. What's the strength one? I can't remember. I never use it.
Yep.
It's so ridiculous. At low levels, though, when you don't really have any other use for your mana, it's kind of nice. It actually does increase your strength high enough. It's really low. But I do like as you get higher and higher in level, your buffs do last longer and longer. I was a fan of targeted group buffing, just because raids, setting up for a raid shouldn't take you like 3 hours, an hour maybe, not 3 hours. You know, it's and having to reform groups, having a raid window in Everquest 2 was a nice addition. I didn't like how they capped you out at 4 groups, though. I would have liked to see raid groups or raids being as big as you wanted them to be, but that was a way for them to handle the lag in zones without going over. You know, if you have 200 people show up in a zone.
That's not why they did it.
It's one of the
they did it because of tactics, as mob tactics. If you have 4 groups, I mean, you're limited to the amount of people that you can bring into the zone. Then you're also limited to how much you can do in certain zones based off of the classes that you have.
There's something to be said, though, about overwhelming the mob if your tactics aren't quite there. You know, if you go in there and you're not doing what you need to do, I love the fact that you can just go in there with like 80 people instead of 20, and you can get the job done so much easier. You may lose half of those people in the fight, but you'll get it done. Now, not every mob will work that way. If you're taking on Avatar War, you're going to need to know what you're doing. You're going to need to have some strategy, even with 80 or 100 or, you know, 1,000 people.
We'll take the Leviathan fight in EverQuest 2. That if you had more people in that fight, then you would have been able to easily take him down. But with the raid size and it being an instant zone, it ended up making it so that it was much harder to defeat him until you got to the point where they just added an expansion and it completely destroyed what stats are.
Yeah, I mean, the strats is what they were going for, but I like a more open world. Yeah, I don't want. I grew up playing games that force you to go down one path, and being able to play like Assassin's Creed, where you can go down any path you want. Kinda. I mean, it wasn't like 100% open world, but it was a lot more than any of the other ones out there. Let's see if there was one thing from.
Why is he getting so much?
Had, what would you like Peanut and I to have? The planes, the plane raids, zones, like Plane of Innovation, Plane of Time. I really, really like those. I think those were well done. I think they fit within the scope of what EverQuest Classic was about. They didn't have loot that was just insane. It was good, but it wasn't insane. A little bit too much flowing thought. I think if they could have nerfed that, take a little bit of that away, I'd be okay with that. Flowing thought was, for me, something that was epic. You know, Brain of Khazak Thul, flowing thought on it. The Shaw quest, really hard to do. Lots and lots of time invested in it, and you may fail a couple of times trying to do it. You only get a little bit of flowing thought on that.
Yeah, whenever they got to the point of adding like 5 flowing thought on an item and higher, and then you had regeneration on everything and mana regeneration on everything. That's when
there was not a lot of downtime. There wasn't as much downtime, and then you throw in mounts that you could sit on and stand up at the same time, so there was no sitting down anymore. You know, mana was just constant all the time, so they try to make it more like World of Warcraft. But if I could bring in any of those aspects, it would have been the zones themselves. You would have to nerf some of the loot, but the zones were really, really well done, and I kind of miss them. Let's see. When they put maps into EQ, they messed up the game. I did not like maps. One of the great things about a game like this is the unknown, the fear of it, the excitement of it, the adventure of traveling through a zone and not knowing what's over the next hill, whether you're going to hit a river, whether you're going to hit an ocean, a mountain, a town, a camp of centaurs or orcs or goblins or ghouls. Like, who knows? You don't, because you've never been there before. And you don't have to look at the little mini-map in the top corner and guide yourself through a town. You have to learn that town. So I agree with that.
No maps in the game have been really good for me because I do zone walkthroughs. and a lot of those videos I get a lot of praise on because of the fact that people don't get to see some of those zones, or they haven't been to some of the areas that I can get to with my rogue.
Yeah, I'm really surprised with the amount of people who stayed away from dungeons. I realized they're scary, but that was my bread and butter as a cleric. If there was a dungeon, I was going there. That's where I found groups. That's where I found experience. I got loot for it. Just the excitement of going into a dungeon and seeing the dead bodies at the entrance, and you know the cool little sound effects that they would add to some of those mobs. They always try to make them a little bit more scary, a little bit more intimidating than any of the other ones that you might find like outside the dungeon. So I don't know. I'm kind of partial to dungeons, less outside zones. Let's see. The link on the UI to the Redstone Srcyer, my Beast Lord. I'll have to look at that here in a minute. But guys, I think we're going to go ahead and end the stream here for now. Hopefully that Pantheon stream will be starting soon. Me and Srcyer are going to be watching that one. And then when that one is over, we're going to come back. We're going to get onto one of our tunes. We're going to do some grouping again. And we're going to discuss what we saw. So if you guys are... Oh, and there's another level. I got 2 levels in one day, dude.
Should I? I'm level 23 now.
Oh, congrats, dude.
So I'm almost to canny level.
To this day, I can still draw a map of Soul B from memory. Haven't to learn that stuff. That's what I think, dude. Like the memory of the zone. I can still describe Lower Guck to Chupa when he gets lost down there because he never really got to experience that place. I love it. I love that it made that big of an impact. I can barely remember my name some days, and the fact that I can remember Lower Guck, and yeah, it's a thing. Thank you very much for the great stream. Thank you for joining us today, guys. Remember, we stream all the time. You guys are welcome to join us. We do stream other video games besides Everquest, so make sure you guys look at the description. We'll change that up when we do the other games. Me and Srcyer do a lot together. The gang, Nonal, Chupa, even Terrafina will join us in there. Well, Terrafina and myself did a stream of Resident Evil, and I have about 6 more episodes of that coming out here next week. So if you guys are fans of Resident Evil 5, definitely go to the YouTube channel and check those out. Do you have a link to the Pantheon stream? I do not have a link to that one, but it is from Jimmy Lee, or Jim Lee. Let me scroll back up. I probably won't be able to find it again. Let's see. Before I head out, we'll find it. Yeah, Jim Lee is the name Juicebox told us is the guy who's going to be streaming. There you go. What time is the Pantheon stream? 9 Central Standard Time is what we've been told. So hopefully that is a thing. Don't camp here. Yeah, we're not going to camp here. Tara has been kind enough to offer us a port out if you guys want it. Let's tell White Devil we're going to be heading out. Okay, ports. Yeah, Tara, for sure. If you could give us a port. Where do you want, Srcyer? You want like North Row or something, just so we can come back here if we...
Steam font.
Steam font.
I'm bound here. Yeah, I'm bound here.
All right. Steam font, I guess, is good for me. I'll probably have to get a port out of there later. I just don't want to make Tara port me all over the place. Looking forward to your next stream. Take care. Oh, thank you again, man. We'll be doing it later tonight. Like I said, right after the stream of Pantheon. We're going to go check that out. And those of you who missed the last one, they did one just 2 days ago. First dungeon that they have shown in a while. They did one a long time ago, but very, very undone. It had a lot of like placeholders that didn't quite look right. So Steam font first, then West Commons. Oh, nice. All right, I'll take a West Commons. Always a pleasure to have you guys. And Dimsy, thank you for coming out and joining us. Sorry we didn't get to say anything to you when you left. But as we said before, anytime we do these streams, we very rarely look down at group chat, which is a horrible, horrible thing to do.
It is.
We apologize for it. We can't give you guys enough apologies just because Like, you guys come out to join us, and then we don't even say anything to you. Like, it's just the worst. It's horrible.
That said,
it happens. It happens a lot.
Yeah.
So we like to get you in the call, if at all possible. I know some of you guys don't want to be in the call. You don't feel comfortable with it, and we're completely okay with that. If you guys just want to be part of the group, you're more than welcome to do that too. But just know that our attention span and our attention period is not the greatest. I guess we're taking White Devil with us. Did he say he wanted to? Yeah, he said he wanted to go.
Yeah.
I Mezit? We grouped with that guy before. 19 Enchanter. We should have got him in the group when we were down there.
Is it the right Enchanter you're talking about?
What's that?
Because there's Mezit, who is a level 6.
No, this is iMezit. He's a 19 Enchanter.
Right on.
Alright, guys, we're camping out here. Again, if you're looking for any more Everquest footage, you can always go check out Srcyer Deck's channel on YouTube. He has a lot of really cool stuff.
I do that stuff.
Not playing his Enchanter as much these days. Hopefully he'll get back into that at some point. But he does have his Shadow Knight. He kind of retired his Cleric a little bit. He has a Wizard as well, high-level Wizard, that you guys can catch some action on that. And you guys can always find mine as well. Till then, guys.
Have a good night, people.
Till later. Hey guys, and welcome to the disembodied voice of AC Gamer. We are definitely going to be doing a lot more series in the future, but here are a few of them that you guys might find interesting. Of course, you're more than welcome to check them out. I would love to hear your comments. Again, if you do enjoy these videos, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe. It's definitely the indicator that I use to tell if you guys want to see more videos like that, of that particular game style, of that series in the long run. So when you guys leave comments down, it helps me decide whether we should keep doing it, as well as whether you want to see games like that in the future. And here are a few of them right here. I kind of picked out a few of different genres. We will be doing spotlights for other YouTubers in the future. So if you want to get a little shout out, definitely let me know. If you group with me, chances are you will get a shout out in here eventually. But for now, these are just 4 series that I have that I feel like could use a little bit more attention, and that you guys might actually enjoy as well. Thanks again for watching, guys, and we will definitely catch you all next time.